Alright. On this episode of What is Tone, I talks about the software of my favorite. I love this pedal board. What is it called again? Yeah, the Tonal Studio for the Boss ME80. I'm trying something new here. I got the camera here and the camera there. You put them here. And everything I don't bother moving. So it's like static, non-static, or volatile, non-volatile. Yeah, let's see if I can edit this right. Because if I can, that's going to be very good. So I want to say around the Line 6 days, the early days at the beginning, I got into modeling and a gear that mimics other gear, if that makes sense. Not that I preferred over original used gear or original made gear, but I kind of like having these options and knobs and switches and shit. Because honestly, deep down inside, do I care if it really sounds like what it's modeled after? No. I'm a tone chaser, but the whole purity of it is like, how many people listening to an AC30 from their favorite artist knows it's an AC30? None, unless like they're just fucking gear nerds like that. And I've yet to meet anybody like that, so. This is like the third week I've owned this pedal board, and I want to be buried with this fucking thing, right next to my guitar. The amp, it's still a maybe, only because it should have been made louder. Like I'm starting to see the Rolling Cube GS is a good practice amp. It's not a good performing amp. It's like time and time and again, I'm playing live in front of these crowds, and how the fuck are 3 drunk people eating chicken wings louder than fucking the amp itself? And the amp is cranked all the way. But when the people are removed, it's too fucking loud. So I've come to the conclusion that this is no different than working on a construction site, trying to have a conversation with someone while another person is like breaking the concrete with a jackhammer. If you're not louder than a jackhammer, the person you're talking to is not going to hear you. So what do? You get amplification. I forgot what it's called. Bullhorn? Whatever. Now, you got the bullhorn, but now you're shouting at the person in front of you. So now it's like you got the jackhammer here, and then you got the bullhorn here, and it's just too much. So I've learned a few things last night. Well, learned, remembered, I can't tell the difference anymore. The setup was pretty good, considering that the amp they had wasn't all that great. But they had PA speakers. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck did I not just connect directly into the PA speaker? Or the mixer? So next week is going to be better. I wrote down my mistakes, I'm getting the checklist down. So if I just plug directly into the mixer, not only am I going to be heard, but I can drown out the crowd's murmurings, because that's what it sounds like when everything's fucking full tilt. It's kind of amusing, but it's really distracting. Whatever. I'm probably taking these open mics way too seriously, but at the same time, I don't want to keep performing for free forever. This shit is whack. I got bills to pay. I'm in between jobs. I'm about to go back to school. It'd be nice to get paid for a gig every now and then. So, as I'm playing with the pedal board, both on stage and off, I'm seeing how volume staging and gain stacking works. Like when I first started, I had too much volume. So it kind of sounded really cruddy. So I pulled back the volume, but then I also lose a little bit of gain, so I had to boost up the gain a little bit. And I'm like, I hate this retarded ass dance of mixing. I can't ever just turn this shit on and just go, which is like the ultimate perfect gig situation. Just plug in, tune, start playing, finish the set, and then move on. So I'm playing with this pedal board thing here, getting some of the fucking best sounds I ever got, ever, out of any device I've ever had. And I'm wondering, like, wait, something is up with this board. There's more to this board than meets the eye. So I'm there like, what the fuck is really going on? I download the software, I installed it, it's sounding great, and the first thing it asks me is, would I like to use my MPK Mini as a controller? Would I like to use the Boss M80 as a DAW controller? Or do I just want to connect to that Boss M80 to like manage it and stuff? And I'm there like 3 options. Damn, boss, what is going on here? I'm understanding the fear I had of purchasing this thing because it's that intimidating. It's not a steep learning curve, it's just a little weird. So, okay, in my head, I thought it was the preamp, FX1, DS, FX2, mod, delay, reverb, volume out. And it's like that on some settings, but then there's times when I change up the settings and I can see the software changing the signal chain. And I'm thinking, oh my fucking God. I may not manually be able to control the signal chain as I want, because I'm prone to do some really ignorant shit, like stack 3 different choruses together with some delay and then put more delay on the amp and the reverb and just get that weird ass chamber music that I like going to sleep to so much. But this is what I was looking for. This was it. A board that, one, the volume stays relatively the same through all patches, which is just, 2, it's really hard to sound bad with this thing, seeing how I can't mistakenly put an effect in the wrong spot. Now, it's a bit of a handicap, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer to be able to manage things on my own, but then at the same time, I am saving so much time by thinking of a sound, plugging it in, saving it as a patch, and then recording with it. Like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. So now, what I'm gonna try to show, if it's gonna let me, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. So I got, let me see, perfect example. Let me turn everything off and start over. Now, I should have the guitar ready for this one, whatever. Yeah. Now, this is the pedal board with everything off. The amp is set to British combo. Everything is new except for the effects and the master, because I know if I put that master up anymore, it'll probably just echo through the whole building. Kinda wish I lived in a basement right now. Okay, now let's say I want, I'm not going to turn on the preamp because it tends to sound a little too much, and this speaker isn't all that, it's not meant for that. Let's put some compression on, right? I'll put compression, and the volume is set to wah. So let's turn that off because it shouldn't even be on right now. See, instantly, see that? As soon as I change a parameter, it automatically either moves it out the way or turns it off. And I'm like, I kind of don't get it, but I kind of do. This thing is smarter than I am, and I can admit that. Fine, whatever. So okay, I'm gonna turn it off. And the best thing is I can just, do this. Where is it? Voice? Where is it? No, just turn it off. Now the graphics is a little confusing, but so now I turn off the wah and it's behind the preamp. But the compression is first, which I'm kind of used to. And because it's compression, it tends to act like a little volume boost. Okay, great. I got a little compression, feeling kind of bluesy country, kind of bluesy country. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm purposely going to switch to my neck pickup and split the coil. Awesome. I can do that all day. So now, with a setting like this, let's go with a little bit of chorus. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of chorus. I love that. I think I fell in love with chorus long before I learned to appreciate delay and reverb. Like, I'm still trying to, I guess I just haven't found that reverb that I give a fuck about. Because it's always just like this generic spring or room or hall, but there's no tweaking of them. That's what I don't like. So I might invest in like a dedicated reverb pedal, but I probably won't gig with it. I am not trying to come to a gig with a wingspan of effects. No. I don't know how the guys from Korn do it. I'm pretty sure they got people that paid to like carry all that shit. But man, fuck that. Yeah. So this is where things start to get a little complicated. Because I love just stacking effects more than stacking gain. Because with gain, you're either going to be a lot darker or a lot brighter, much more compressed, a lot lower in volume, or a lot higher in volume. That doesn't, don't care about that. So now I'm thinking in my head, because this software blew my mind away. Like whew, it might be another week or two before I can actually like get this thing wrapped in my head. My whole thing with effects is, when I first started out, I say the first 6 to 10 years of guitar, my timing sucked. Like, I just had no sense of, not necessarily what to play, but more like when to play it, so it sits right? So I realized I'm fucking retarded, and I keep time by measuring delay trails. It might sound really complicated, but look, this is how this works, and I don't got control of it. So, okay, let's say I'm trying to play something with a simple beat, like I always do. In my head, I'm playing as percussive as possible to imitate a simple 1-2 beat, 2-4 beat, you know, just snare, hi-hat, and like the kick bass, just once every 4 measures in my head. That's how I learned drums in New York, because that's like the most basic style everybody starts out with. And I miss the street performers, I do. There are no real street performers out here. Now, before I got into effects and pedals, I was relying on whatever the amp came with, whatever amp I had at the time. And it was never enough, because I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna take off the chorus here, right? And then I'm gonna put some of that spring reverb on. And that's how it's been like all day. If I'm not in school or at work, I'm just getting the craziest sounds I can get out of my amp, whatever guitar I had at the time. But it wasn't enough. Because as you know, playing an instrument, once you start really getting into the instrument, you start realizing how much you can really do, get away with, can't get away with. It's like the parameter of where the instrument lives. Alright, so I got some spring reverb on, right? The next step would be, let's just throw some delay in there. Basic analog delay. I haven't mastered Terra Echo yet, but I'll look that up later. And in a sense, programming it like this, I started realizing, okay, my timing is getting better because now I have a sense of when I can play again to where it's not a crowded mush, like. And that's how I used to play. It was just everything's on top of everything all the fun time. I'm like, alright, cool. So, that's sick. Alright, so I got the spring reverb on the amp. I got the delay on the pedal board. What mod should I use? You know what? I'm gonna use some flanger, right? Notice every time I flip the switch, something changes, moves around. It's fucking, like, I find this to be, it's the most mind-boggling thing. It's like I've lived long enough to see my gear become smarter than me. I forgot to turn it on. So I'm turning it on now, and so we got this compression, there's flanger, there's delay, and there's a reverb. Which in my head, that signal chain makes perfect sense, because you buy a bunch of pedals, you plug them all in, and depending on the order of everything is what the sound you get. Now, what happens when it's not the sound you want? You gotta turn everything off, take it all apart, and then figure it out. And it's fun at first, but in the second decade of guitaring, you don't do that shit. Nobody does. It's just like, listen, let me get a multi-effects pedal board in the hopes that it's good enough. I don't have to rely on pedals and cables and wires. Oh, fuck. Like, not that I don't mind, but nah, man, fuck that. I don't want to deal with that on stage, having too many variables going on and then something just stops working. I've been there before. It's not fun. Maybe that one main pedal you need to get that sound out, and then it just doesn't work because it wasn't roadworthy. Ooh, that's got some rumble right there. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't think that was gonna rumble. Like, I felt that in both my feet on the floor. And my feet aren't even like fully planted on the floor yet. So now, let's get a little crazy. Let's get a little crazy. So I'm just gonna throw, what do we not have on yet? I got, let's throw some tremolo on. Because tremolo is like a really weak delay repeating signal thing. I can't really hear the tremolo at all. It's almost like a really weird slow gear effect, but not all the way. So we're not going to use tremolo, because that's almost all the way, man. I mean, y'all see it, right? You know what it is? I'm starting to think maybe I just need a second amp to hear the tremolo effect, because I am wearing it under a lot of stuff. Because I still haven't learned the signal chain of the amp, and it's nowhere near as smart as this fucking pedal board. Like, I think I'm smarter than the amp, but not smarter than the pedal board. So. Okay, the tremolo is in there. So now I'm gonna take the tremolo away, push it into a heavy octave, use the tremolo, if I can find it, yeah, tremolo, and then throw the chorus, yeah, let me see something here now. That's almost a whole bar of measures. So now, oh no, I messed up. I didn't turn on the chorus. I turned on the reverb. That's double reverb. Okay, let's just turn that off real quick. I didn't want that. Now the chorus is on. This is on here. I'm stacking delay, which is really signal repeating effects, on top of signal repeating effects, I can hear the tone being buried. There's certain things that are just not standing out the way they should. And this is what intrigues me about sound. You can have so much stuff going at the same time, but if you don't have that fidelity to hear it, you'll never know. It's like I had this conversation the other day with somebody, and they had just bought like expensive headphones, and I guess I was an influence on that in some kind of way, because I just hate using cheap shit. And I told them, bad headphones covers up the signal, whereas good headphones exposes the signal. And when I say that, I've been buying headphones since I was a kid, and I've noticed the more money I put into headphones, the better the signal response. Not necessarily just the bass, because to me bass boosted headphones are fucking cheap. Like, it's just fucking disgusting how much bass some of these fucking headphones have. And I'm just like, where's the middle or treble? Like, what's going on here? Where's the presence? Like, it's just masked. Alright, fine. Masked, whatever, blah. My first really good pair of headphones was like about 8 years ago. I think I got the AKG 525 or 545. They're like the tank built ones. Oh my god, those things are ridiculous. They took so much abuse. I plugged them in. What was it that I had at the time? I think I had some type of mini player. I can't remember. And then I had just recently switched over to... No. Yeah. I had just recently switched to an Android phone. And it had, like, I think it was the the S5? I had all this stuff on it for sound that I didn't know what, because it's just like, it's digital. It's not the same as analog. So when I plugged them in, I didn't know what to expect. I'm figuring, these headphones are heavy as fuck. Like, why are they so heavy? Playing around with the settings, and oh my god. Once I tweaked it with the EQ and the parameters of what the phone can do to that headset, I just never wanted to take them off. It was just like sweet lovins to my ear canals. Oh god, that felt good. But then I started, that was the day I realized I've been wasting a lot of time and money on cheap ass headphones, thinking that if I do it like that, at least I'll always have a pair of headphones with me. No, because these headphones lasted me like a good 4 years. And they damn near imploded from the destruction of constantly dropping them from falling asleep at work. So, push come to shove, now I'm looking at everything like that. Like, it's not necessarily that more expensive equals better quality, because there's a lot of bullshit hype out there. And I think there is a ceiling cap to where, like, past a certain point, you're not getting much of a difference. Like, what's the difference between $300 headphones and $3,000 headphones? Like, at what point is it just fucking ridiculous to just have expensive shit? So now, I'm trying to take that whole ideology into my signal chain. I got quality stuff, finally. I'm learning how to use it. And I'm finally getting to that point where it's like, this is what I was doing wrong the whole fucking time. I was using too much on one line, confused as to why it sounds so bad. Like, you ever recorded something that you think sounds great, but then when you listen back to it, it sounds like garbage, like underwater marble, or like too thick and not stale, but not fresh either. So, okay. Now the question is, how many effects can I run at any given point in time before this sound just sounds like absolute garbage? Find out. Let's find out. So I got compression. Let's add some distortion because gain is good. Oh yeah, I'm not even in the right. Let me go back down to the bridge pickup. Untapped. Now see, this is what I'm talking about. That's not all as clear as it can be. I think I've reached the max of how much I can have running, right? So let's take back the delay, the tremolo, and the chorus, because we don't need the chorus, and the compression, because compression and distortion into octave and reverb, that's not, can be, but now let's take away, right? It doesn't sound as good as I wanted to. I think my strings are dying. I changed them yesterday. I go through strings faster than a plate of food sometimes, so whatever. So now, bridge pickup uncoiled. Let's take away the spring reverb and see if that makes any of a difference. A little bit, not really. Still haven't found the right chord for that riff, but I'll get there. So now, it sounds muffled, it sounds muffled. So how do we get rid of that muffled sound? Do I do the nut shit and fucking throw the preamp on? Because it's on clean, let's see. I'm getting tired. But, I mean, it is muffled because the speaker is facing into the table, but I've noticed whether it's into the table or not, the clarity isn't enough to be like, oh. Because the thing is, I can take this same sound and put it directly into my DAW. And depending on what's going on in the DAW plus this is how it sounds, I get that. Which is why now I'm getting to the point where it's just like, I don't want to keep using software-based generating tones unless I absolutely really need to. Like, the last video, the last What Is Tone, I was talking about a bunch of different random shit while trying to make a point about using software to get the tones that I used to have from gear that is either no longer in existence or just isn't made. Discontinued, basically. And it's great and all for the nostalgia, but it's like a lot of the gear back then was nowhere near as good as it is now. And I get it, the software helps you produce when you can't get to the hardware or don't have the hardware. But now I'm like, I got enough hardware to not need the software. So now I just gotta figure out how to use the hardware properly so I don't need the software and I can just hit record, settings, tune, record, keep it moving. Because the whole goal is just to keep fucking moving. Fuck everything outside of that. Did my camera just crap out on me? Yes, it did. I can't even imagine at what point this is why I don't trust these things at all. I don't trust these things at all. I'm surprised I recorded what I did last night. I mean, to me, it seemed like it didn't record anything. I don't know. That's a video for another day. So, alright. In all honesty, I feel like the only thing I'm really missing are 2 PA speakers powered, because I've learned that if it's not powered, you're gonna need more shit to power it so it can sound. And some type of tube preamp pedal to give the sizzle and the heat to the signal. Not too much, not ridiculous amounts like an Engel Powerball, because that's, to me, that's extreme on top of extreme. That's when it's just like you've been touring with 20 stacked Marshall heads and like 40 cabs, and that becomes not enough, so you end up going to Engel, so you can like get the same amount and more without all that extra, which I think to me is fucking insane. I think when it comes to amps and distortion, anything past a EVH whatever plus the MXR full bore pedal is more than enough. I've tried it. I fucking love that tone. Oh my god, I can't wait to have that on the channel. So that's one of the amps I want to put on the wall here, so you can stop staring at my food reserves. But yeah, so now let me see where we at. Specs, software. I think that's it for this episode. Gotta edit this shit. Oh. I'm probably going to be doing tone stacking afterwards. I just want to get the modulation out the way. This is for the last... No. Man, I'm tired. I hate this shit. So right now, I got the preamp going into an amp, which I know it's like a big no-no, but I don't care right now. I wish I can plug it into where I can bypass the preamp of the amp, and it's just a speaker by itself, but it's not made for that. That's what the big boy amps are for. They're coming. I just gotta get over this unemployment hump. And yeah, so the EQ's on, everything's 12. Yeah. To the next video. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. Really?